As we wait for the results of the province's emergency meeting today, Toronto is urging all residents to celebrate Thanksgiving only with those in their households to help slow the second wave of the virus. And joining us right now is Dr. Vinita Dubey, the Associate Medical Officer of Health for the City of Toronto. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Good morning.
Hi. So, are you concerned about this long weekend, about whether it could make or break things in terms of where the numbers go? What's the messaging you really want to send home this long weekend?
We have to go strong with our preventative measures and really put a dent on this virus, or we're going to see our cases continue to rise too rapidly. We've seen in September, we had about 40 cases a day, and now we're between 200 and 300 a day, and that's way too many. And that's why we're asking everyone to take extra measures so that we can slow the peak.
Do you feel like there's this feeling that people think, well, it's just my family or it's just a couple of people, no big deal? How do you kind of combat that attitude?
Oh, yeah, you hear that. My family would never give it to me. We all follow the same practices. It's true. I'm sure your family would never give it to you, but it happens. And you can be contagious before you have symptoms, which is why we can't take the risk of getting close with people we don't live with. And this is unfortunately the Thanksgiving that we will remember, that we did things differently. And we may find that we actually prefer it. But this is the Thanksgiving not to get together in a big group, not even a small group. Stick with your household and do that video chat.
Maybe a good excuse if you don't want to meet up with that weird uncle this long weekend. Okay, so Toronto Public Health is no longer doing contact tracing, but how does that impact numbers? Is it reliable to have people contacting their own networks if they become infected?
So we are actually doing some contact tracing. So we've just prioritized it. So in long-term care homes, retirement homes, in schools, we are doing contact tracing there and doing our routine thing. But for those who are in the community, our case numbers are way too high. And so we are contacting the person who got COVID and asking them to do contact tracing for the people that they had close contact with. We want to get back to regular contact tracing, and that's why we have to see the cases decline so that we can do that. But in the meanwhile, we are relying on people who got sick to share the information with their close contacts. And we're hopeful that they will do that to prevent the spread, so other people don't have to go through what they went through.
So we know the province has an emergency meeting today, and we expect that they may bring down some restrictions. And I know this is something that the Toronto Public Health was also recommending. What do you think is necessary in terms of restrictions for the city to help slow this second wave?
We have seen many cases related to bars and restaurants. Some are related to staff and some are related to patrons. We know that when we were in stage 2, our case numbers were quite good. As we headed into stage 3, sometime in the summer, we were prepared for cases to go up, but now cases have gone up too far. And so we're going to need to dial back some of the openings. Things like outdoor dining are safer. And so maybe we need to do that for a little bit longer and hold back on some of the more risky types of situations till we get things under control.
What about schools? What are we hearing about where that is playing a role? Obviously lots of kids back in school. Is that having a factor into this second wave?
Schools are doing quite well, and they have a lot of public health measures in place. There are just under 200 schools that have had a case, and most of them are single cases. We have very few schools that have had outbreaks, but we know that if we continue to see more cases in schools, or more cases in the community, we will see more cases in schools, and that's what we don't want. And to say that those 200 cases in a school, that's out of 1,200 schools in the city. And so if we can continue to keep COVID out of schools, keep COVID from spreading in schools, well, then schools can continue to stay open.
All right. Thanks so much, Dr. Dubey, for joining us. And as we mentioned, the province is meeting this morning, and we're going to learn later on if that's going to mean more restrictions. Thanks, Dr. Dubey.
Okay. Thanks. Have a good day.